Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Party crew, keep it real for you. No clothes allowed. Pajama party. Won't stay, join the party. Pajama party. Party crew, keep it real for you. No clothes allowed.
All right, welcome to another Friday night edition of the Pajama Party. I'm one of your hosts, Poppa DD. I'm here with Ketel.
Hello.
And Redwine.
I'm Swad Darlings. Woo! Friday night.
Here we are.
Oh, and by way of announcement, we are doing a shorter show tonight, so we will not be taking any calls. So if you're on the board waiting, we're not being rude. We're just not taking any calls tonight. So thank you for listening.
All right. How's everybody doing?
Everything's cool.
Fantastic.
All right.
Long
Everything's
week.
everything.
Yeah.
True weather out there.
Oh, for sure. It's nasty.
Tough
It's a
weather.
nasty rain out there. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. You ready to get into it?
Fired up.
All right. Hot topics, and we got some hot ones tonight. 8 people, unfortunately, are killed in Atlanta shooting. Also, the talk extends hiatus amid new toxic workplace allegations. And jury selection continues in the Derek Chauvin trial. Hidden and quitted headlines. The U.S. House passes domestic violence bill. Also, Nordstrom launches live stream selling. And family kicked off Spirit flight over their 4-year-old. Our cocktail of the week, I got a surprise. It's St. Patty's weekend. What's poppin' with Poppa DD? I'm quite sure you got a lot for us for tonight. Our weird news. Assistant principal accused in homecoming court vote fraud. Also, a man is found guilty of keeping live sharks in his pool. And Florida couple offers free beer as way to meet the neighbors. Okay. I'm just saying with Redwine, you are part of the problem. Living for the city with Poppa DD. My Hollywood wrap-up, I got some juice to tell you tonight. The kissing list and the last word. Sit back, relax, and we're going to get our favorite cocktail, and we're going to get it in right now. So.
All right. Well, let's see,
ready to rock
Ketel.
and roll? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got the mic, so you go for it. What's the first story tonight?
Unfortunately, 8 people were killed on Tuesday in a shooting in Atlanta's area spas. It was 3 different spas. They said around 5 o'clock, a shooting at Young Asian Massage in Cherokee County killed 4 people, 2 of whom died after being transported to a hospital. A 5th victim was injured and also transported to a hospital. Then later, 3 people were shot and killed at Gold Spa on Piedmont Road in Atlanta. Just so unfortunate. While officers were responding to the scene, they received another call for a shooting across the street at another spa where they found another person who had been shot and killed. The Atlanta Police Chief Rodney Bryant, he has a lot to say, said all 4 victims for the Piedmont shooting were female and appeared to be Asian. The South Korean Foreign Ministry confirmed to CBS News that at least 4 of the 8 victims were Korean descent. So in a statement on Tuesday, Atlanta police said that video footage from the Video Integration Center places this particular suspect's vehicle in the area at the time of the shooting. So good for, videotapes and videos around the area. So that was a good thing. They had different people speak out. they were saying that the White House press secretary, she mentioned that the president, he was briefed on everything that happened, and they keep in contact with the mayor's office and keeping in touch with the FBI. But another thing, the mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, isn't that your girl, Bria Poppa? Isn't that your girl?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, you
she
like
mentioned
Mayor
that. She mentioned that the chief, he was trying not to mention or trying not to say that it was geared to hate crime. He was just trying to say that it was more or less like a sexual addiction that this gentleman had or this guy had that's supposed to kill these people. I've heard a lot of reports, people saying that a lot of Asians are being killed because of hate crime.
They are.
Yeah,
killed and harassed.
Right. And, I've seen videotape on the news, just people walking and stuff, and they've been knocked down and just crazy stuff. But for this captain to say that he don't think that it was, race-related, he's kind of downplaying it to me, and that's not right. That's not fair. So,
no,
what are your
it's
what
also
are your views on
ridiculous to try to downplay it like that.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. You're too quiet over there, Papa. What's your feelings on it?
It's just a lot to it. It's just another person that did a mass shooting that was able to go into custody. And this is happening too much, where people are killing multiple people and are able to be taken into custody and put in the back of the police car like it's no big deal. And we can't even count on two hands the number of unarmed black men that's been killed just by ain't killed nobody. Just got killed themselves, and there was no gun on the scene. And it goes way back, way back. So it's amazing, how they seem like they just can't, shoot their own kind. They can't put a gun up to their own kind no matter what crime they did. And then they always come out with some fast alibi for whatever they've done. These people do some crazy stuff, but then when it comes time to defend themselves, it's, I had a sex addiction, like the other guy talking about, his diabetes kicked in. And,
his sugar was low.
So
that's why he said something racially offensive.
It's all they can, you can't be crazy and clever at the same time. It's like, I don't understand.
Yeah, and they can't
all
be in the same sentence.
But why are they trying to say that they believe or they want to believe that it was sexually motivated? Is it just because it's a massage parlor that we're involved?
I think once you say that it's a hate crime, the FBI gets involved and they take over. It's no longer, the jurisdiction of where it is. Am I right, Papa? Or So it's a thin line. So I guess the chief wants to, be sure. Maybe not. Maybe he's just saying that just because he don't want them to take over, his jurisdiction. Because it can go both ways, really. So,
well,
we shall see.
I'm just trying to figure out, when they keep saying it's sexually motivated, is it just because it was a massage parlor involved? So is the assumption that they're not just giving massages, that there's sexual activity going on, so therefore they just jump right over the massage part and just say these women are paid sex workers, so that's how they're fitting these puzzle pieces together to connect it to some kind of sexual deviation or something on this guy's part, the killer's part. That's the part I was trying to get. I'm like, nobody's coming right out and saying so, but seems like they're accusing these massage parlors of not being legitimate massage parlors when you keep saying that. But
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all, because I think that nowadays everybody who has to, that all that stuff may have a time and may have a place. But I think that all these people that own places that, like you said, that will have an assumption, you know, they have to tighten up over the past few years. You know, they can't just do what people think they're doing in there. You'd be surprised, you know.
That's what I thought.
You'd be surprised. And it's not just because you see a spa, it doesn't mean there's always a happy ending involved. You know, some places may say, no, we don't do that. And just because they're Asian and that's been a traditional level of that. But as time changes and people want to keep their license and things like that, you know, I'm giving them credit for that. I mean, this guy could have been, how often has he frequented? And he probably used cash as opposed to the credit card and probably went there and didn't have any money and wanted some free service and was drunk and who knows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's not nothing to do with the sex crime. It's just that was where you always frequent, and then then that day they turned your ass down. And you got pissed off because you wanted to do it for no money, and then all of a sudden you pulled a gun on them, and then you went somewhere else to get it done. I mean, nobody's talking about the drinking and drugging, and nobody checked his toxicology report or anything to see what he was, his alcohol level or what drugs is in his system, you know.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that's not being done.
Yeah, they were just blowing my mind with the way they just kept talking about the connection with his so-called sex addiction and how you end up murdering people. I'm like, so you just automatically assume that there was sexual activity going on in this business? That's not right.
Well, the mayor, she did mention, she says that we will not begin to blame the victims. And as far as we know in Atlanta, these are legally operating businesses. She says they're not on our radar or the department's radar. So you know, like Papa said, you know, they probably legit and everything. I think we have gotten past that. I mean, kind of people know better because they have been fined either handsomely because they were doing those things, or they've gone to jail or they've been shut down. So.
And it's so easy for undercover officers.
Yeah.
So,
well, I just want to add this, and then I'm going to let it go. The sheriff, one of the sheriffs who was investigating, I believe I got his name right, Sheriff Barker, this man, sympathizing with the killer, stood up there and said, well, you know, the killer was at the end of his rope, and I think he was just having a bad day. I was like, is he serious? You think he was having a bad day? 8 people are dead. How do you think their day is going? Or their family's day? How do you stand up and say that?
I think the one thing people really need to understand that the uniform has really got nothing to do with the white skin. The unification of the white skin is just there. I mean, with all this stuff that went on in the Capitol building, the excuses and the alibis and everybody going back to their lives, now you don't hear from none of them. Now, these guys were so together as a foursome that day at the Capitol building, but now they're all a bunch of individuals that went back to their houses. And they're all just trying to defend themselves and keep quiet and don't say nothing and don't talk about it. Now, these are people that were texting and had all kind of connections all day, all week long. They were just connected. Now that the heat is on with everybody, everybody's like, you know, well, hi, Joe. And everybody's hiding up in Connecticut and all these little swanky neighborhoods that they live in. And it goes right back to Atlanta where, you know, these people, even though they're cops, they see this guy there and they see one of their own. They sympathize with him because when they're on their off time, they're just as sick as he is. They just ain't did no shooting. But they got the same disposition going on. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something we would never.
He came right out and said it at a press conference.
Because they all know each other,
like,
man. They're like, you know, you'd be surprised.
Really say that out loud?
I mean, I've noticed that in the job market, too, where I tell you, one time, and this was a big boss, okay, and I was wondering why he was so catering to this one guy I worked with who had he had like a real country-type disposition. But come to find out, they both were from the same area. They were both from the same town. They both were from a town in West Virginia. So whether you're a low-scale employee or you're the big boss, both of y'all grew up on the streets of West Virginia. So the competency that y'all have as kids is never going to change. No matter whether you put a uniform on with bars on your collar. a gun on your hip, law enforcement, judge, whatever you turned out to be when you grew up, it doesn't matter because both of y'all were West Virginia.
Yeah.
You know, walking the streets as, you know.
Same clothes.
Yeah,
Right.
comfort, exactly.
Right. Wow.
All right.
Yep.
All right, Poppa DD. You wanted to talk about the talk.
Oh, God.
That hot hornet's nest.
I'm surprised it lasted that long.
Mm.
You know, I think that the lady that the one that had to leave because of the scandal with her, it wasn't a scandal with her, it was a scandal with her husband and people in the business. He was a big executive producer, you know, of CBS, period. And his wife was running the show. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, and the problem, see, the biggest problem with what's her name? What's the young lady's name? The one that did all the
Sharon Osbourne.
Sharon Osbourne. Okay, you know, one day Sharon Osbourne came in with pulled back skin, a wig, makeup, and projected a whole nother image. Okay, at one time, her and her husband Ozzy was just, and their two children were four of the most, oh my God, destitute looking jokers you ever want to see. Especially her husband. I mean, God, this man, he did so many drugs, and his speech is just, he's got slurred speech without Parkinson's disease. You know what I'm saying? That's just how he taught the drugs, and the guy, you know, and she got to translate that when he talks. This is how vicious they were. But then one day she came in all decked out. You see, remember she took on a different look now? Mm-hmm. I mean, pull up some footage of her a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
you know,
I remember her.
And then they showed footage where, and I'm just doing a backstory for a minute. Then they showed footage of her where she got rid of my girl, you know, calling her ghetto. You know, Pete. What's her name?
Holly Robinson.
Holly Robinson.
Holly Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that whole situation with that, and I honor old girl because she was the only one that hung in there. You know, the comedian.
Cheryl Underwood.
Yeah, Cheryl Underwood was the only one that hung in there with all the passing going on because people were dropping like flies in there, you know, and Underwood and another girl, and I think that Cheryl kind of just went in because the whole situation with Pierce has been a jerk off for years.
True.
I mean, CNN kicked him off because he started getting all testy with that. I mean, then he ran back to Britain and never came back to, but he was on CNN for a long time. He used to sit in for King. You know, he used to be the guest host for Larry King for a while. And that's what kind of got dripped because people saw him at night and they said, oh my God, Piers Morgan. Oh, the accent. Oh my God, we love him. But then his true self came out with different people and, you know, it became a mess. But anyway, getting to the story here, you know, they were scheduled to come back Wednesday, the talk program, but they won't resume until Tuesday of the following week, next week, the 23rd, said the spokespeople from CBS. The daytime Talk Fest took an unplanned break early this week following a controversial interaction among the co-hosts during a conversation in the March 10th broadcast. All right, while the host panel talked about the British TV personality Piers Morgan's comments about Meghan Markle, you know, Sharon Osbourne defended him viciously, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, he's only saying that. But she doesn't realize that Piers Morgan is only siding with the Queen side of things because he wants access to the palace. You know what I mean? He knows those people. I mean, if I'm a sports writer, I'm not going to talk about Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys if Jerry Jones is giving me a box seat when I go to a fucking game, you know, excuse my language, you know?
Right.
If he gives me carte blanche when I go in the stadium, what am I going to do, go on TV and talk about Jerry Jones? No, I'm not. And that's the situation with Pierce. Pierce knows the people in the castle, and he probably hang out, probably have beers with Charles, as ratchet as Charles is. I mean, you know, Charles, my goodness, Charles is a mess. Him and that woman of his, what's her name? Please.
Camilla.
Camilla, okay? Please. They done dress her ass up also. Anyway, she's just as bad as old girl. But anyway, Sharon Osbourne defended him viciously, and all of a sudden, Cheryl Underwood had a problem with that. and all of a sudden they got into it on TV, and it got interesting, and I think that Cheryl Underwood kind of said some things that kind of compromised her racial beliefs and stuff, and at that point, Sharon Osbourne, who's not a quick thinker because he's old and stupid, got caught between a rock and a hard place, and just froze in time, saying, "Oh my God, I'm not a racist," and then Underwood being a comedian, she's used to that quick punchline. So she just, like you hitting a punching bag. She just bum rushed her. And she was left out there now saying, "Oh, why y'all picking on me? What did I do?" So they said, "Okay, we got to stop filming." And now they pulled the young girl in here because now Osborne's saying that she's teaming up with the young girl. And they're the one, I think she's 24, 25 years old. They got this young black girl in there, real pretty girl. I don't know her name right now. Sharon is quoted saying to her, "Well, I asked her all the time, being she's young, what's happening in the world today with young people and blah, 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 blah." Now, how's a person that done, her and her husband and children done all the drugs in the world? What advice do they need from anybody? They're 30 years older than everybody in there. Going to ask somebody what's happening with the world. The world ain't changed. You know what I mean? If I'm 60 years old, what am I seeing different that a 30-year-old is seeing now that I've already seen already? So you got to fade back to a 25-year-old to learn how to act when you should be the example.
That sounds like a problem.
I mean, So right now, the talk is in hiatus because I think that Osborne has showed her true colors, and I think that Underwood isn't really, she ain't worried about nothing.
She got right testy with Cheryl Underwood.
Yeah, because
Cheryl looked like she was getting a little emotional, and Sharon started yelling at her, talking about, "Don't you dare cry." I was like, what?
Yeah, that's just white privilege right there. I don't think nobody should cry in the face of in the face of turmoil. No way. I don't buy that. I don't think you should. If you got something to say to somebody, I've always learned, if you got something to say to somebody that you want to be serious, don't do it with a smile on your face, because you're going to change the narrative which you're trying to put across. If somebody owes you money and you're going to approach them about the money they owe you, even though you're your friend, you can't go up there with a smile and say, "When am I going to get my $100?" You need to be serious, because if you're serious, I need my $100 for real. But we'll see what happens with that, because I'm sure it's going to be some changes. I'm sure it's going to be interesting, and so because some people after a while become has-beens. I mean, they got to look and see, who's really necessary on that talk anymore. I mean, look at the other show, the other talk show with the other young girls. They did a lot of tweaking over there until they found out what they wanted. They lost people.
I can't
they
even
lost
the name of that one.
Tamar and all them, and so sometimes stuff got to be tweaked to find out what you want to end up with. Bands do it, and singing groups do it. The Temptations did it. They done went through people, David Ruffin, and you name it. All how many people they went through. So it's it just seems like at a certain time, cutting the fat really has its place.
But I'm gonna chime on that, because they were. Well, she did an interview with the guy from Entertainment Tonight, black guy. I forgot his name. But she did an interview with him the day after. She felt it was important to get her side of Sharon Osbourne. And she claimed that she was ambushed. It was because that's why they're doing an investigation. She wanted to have the investigation. She was saying that when she found out that it was some quote-unquote producers that had asked the other women to talk to Sharon or to put questions out there to Sharon Osbourne about Pierce, because they are friends. And that's why she probably felt she was ambushed. What had happened was, it happened before. It happened to the black girl, the young black girl on there, and they claimed as a pact that it would never happen again. And here it goes, it happens again. So they have to check those producers too. But it still shows some things coming out on the host, like you did say, Poppa DD. It's interesting to see that I'm looking up the talk, And guess who's been prevalent for the whole 11 years?
I don't know.
Sharon. She's been on there all 11 years. Like Papa said, people have come and go, but because Cheryl didn't come until the second season. So,
so Sharon kind of feels like she holds holds the
like
right.
She's the moderator.
That's why I feel like nobody really should, I think the main thing that you should hold, at least the way I roll anyway, the main thing that you should hold in a room if you're the senior person in the room is knowledge. Because you don't possess anything. You don't possess the chairs, the tables. When you go to pack your box, if you get fired, the only thing that you see in people's boxes is picture frames and coffee cups and a flower. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised when you leave an establishment how much stuff in there does not belong to you. And until you understand and realize that, and then some people want to leave out and they want to take papers and files and all that shit. It's like, well, I'm not connected to none of this. But it's very interesting because some people, just to say one more thing about that, a lot of people, when you're sitting there when you're making $9,000 an episode, and you're doing 5 episodes a week, and you're making $45,000 a week. You know what I'm saying? And if she's a senior person getting a senior money, and she's making a minimum of $40,000 a week, and I'm not joking. And I could be low on my assumption, okay? Because these jokers are getting paid by Crest and Listerine and Hyundai and Jeep and Cadillac and whoever else is advertising for that show. And right now, I just think that show really needs to take a look at themselves.
We'll see what happens with it. Well, I just wanted to real briefly talk about this jury selection. They are having a time, and I knew this was going to be a problem, trying to get jurors for that Derek Chauvin trial. This is the person, I will not call him a gentleman, this is the person who killed George Floyd. They've been like rotating jurors in and out. They get some, then they release some, then they get a few more, then they have to get rid of some more. So Wednesday, the judge dismissed 2 more that were seated for the trial over concerns about that $27 million settlement. I guess these 2 people must have had an opinion about that $27 million. So those 2 were let go, and they picked up 2 more. The 2 that were let go was a white man in his 30s and a Hispanic man in his 20s. The 2 new ones they picked up was a black man in his 40s and a multiracial woman in her 40s. So they're just, going around and around trying to get all the seats filled so they can start the trial. Well, we'll just keep an eye on it because this seems to be like a circular story every other day or so. They have another one's come and another one's gone. So I think now the count is up to 10. They got a 10th one on yesterday, on Thursday. All I know about her is that she's a nurse. I don't know the age. I don't know what her ethnicity is, and of course they drilled her. They asked her how she felt about drug addiction and, all these other questions in terms of trying to figure out if she would be biased in any way because of the alleged drugs they say Mr. Floyd had in his system. So that's all I have on that one.
So have they finished all the jury selection, or are they still going back and forth like you're saying? Okay.
They're still on the jury merry-go-round.
Yeah, that stuff is not easy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yep, because the questions they ask 24/7.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right.
Well, while I'm talking, let me give you this quick hit it and quit it. I'm going to do my best to hit it and quit it. This one is about the U.S. House has passed a domestic violence bill. Now, why they even needed to, I would have thought that this was a resolved issue, but apparently not. So with a nod to Women's History Month, the Democratic-led House passed two measures on Wednesday of this week, one designed to protect women from domestic violence and the other to remove the deadline for states to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. And I'm like, what? Is that still something that has to be dealt with? I thought that was a done deal. It's amazing to me when you find out about these things, how this stuff really works in Congress. So it goes on to talk about what the actual vote was. It passed 244 to 172. This time you had 29 Republicans who joined in and voted along with the Democrats. White House announced their support for the bill. So, like I said, it only passed the House. Now it's got to get through the Senate. So we will see what happens on that one. They're saying the bill leaves no victim behind. So we'll see. The first Violence Against Women Act was in 1994. It was signed by President Bill Clinton, and it provided $1.6 billion toward investigation and prosecution of violent crimes against women. So that was the first one. So we'll see what happens when it gets to the Senate.
It's just crazy. They should just pass the bill. I mean, what more do you, I just don't understand. It's like it's a touchy situation, a touchy topic. Why can't you just go ahead and pass it? I guess because there's a bunch of old white men that don't want to pass the bill, huh?
There it is.
I think
you
if
would
we
think
get more
something
and more
like this would,
females, you would think.
But you would think it would be a unanimous. It should have been a unanimous thing. I mean, really? Why in the Equal Rights Amendment? Why does that have to be renewed? Why isn't that just straight law? Period. Done deal. Stick a pin in it. Done.
Right. It should be ratified, and if you want to change it, then you have to. I guess if you stamp it and put an approval on it, it's going to take longer to unstamp it. You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
If somebody
I understand what you're saying, but
and unstamp it, right? So they figured, okay, we're going to let it continue on. It's just like the voting act rights for blacks. We got to keep.
Yeah, and that makes no sense. It's like these laws are on loan until time runs out, and then it'll be like, all right, it's over now.
Right. So you have to fight again for the same shit, different day.
See, that makes no sense.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
it doesn't.
Get them and quit them.
Okay.
I'm going to kick it back over to you.
Okay. Nordstrom, since they closed their doors, is launching a live stream selling. Upscale department store chain Nordstrom is getting into live stream selling. That's the latest U.S. retail to jump on the trend that has been popular in China. So they announced this on Wednesday. They're from Seattle-based company. Strategy is to shift more of its business online. Nordstrom will kick off its live streaming channel with a Burberry virtual styling event on Thursday. All right now. The presentation will focus on how to wear Burberry runway looks and style them by mixing and matching with other pieces. Wow. On Friday, shoppers can tune in to learn the latest skincare and hair care tips for at-home beauty rituals. And on April the 8th, customers will learn how to style jewelry. Go ahead, Nordstrom. Go ahead. The live stream shopping enables us to stay closer to the customer with interactive and engaging experiences that allow for discovery, personalization, and service at scale. All right. Sounds good.
I've never heard of a store doing that, so, everybody's trying new things.
Yeah, that's interesting. It says this mode of shopping was expected to bring up nearly $5 billion in sales last year and reached $25 billion in 2023. So, like you said, it's innovative and it's interesting. So, and you have to have a subscription. It requires online registration. I'm sorry. So I'm not sure if there's any fee or anything with it, but I wouldn't think so, because if they want you to purchase things, you probably just have to register. They just want to see how many people are, online and watching. So, go ahead, Marshall. Mm-hmm.
Poppa DD, you gonna sign up and learn how to wear Burberry?
It sounds to me like they're doing what QVC and HSN is doing.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That's true.
Yeah, so they're hopping on the bandwagon. Yeah, but a store, actual brick and mortar type store, they're doing that. So, hey.
Okay.
More power to them. Mm-hmm.
All right, Poppa DD, what's your hit it and quit it tonight?
Looks like this is kind of weird. The family is kicked off the Spirit flight because a 4-year-old autism person wouldn't wear a mask. And it says an Arkansas family was removed from a Spirit airline flight after its 4-year-old child with autism was unable to wear a face mask. All right, so kids on the spectrum, they're usually very obsessed with something. He's obsessed with planes. Mm-hmm. So he's sitting in his seat, being quiet and looking out the window. And this lady was like, "Get off," says Carrie Kimball, whose 4-year-old son is nonverbal and has Alzheimer's. He has a disability. He's protected under the American Disability Act, and they go, no, autism is not a disability. He has to wear a mask or he has to get off the plane, Kimball says. What? Kimball says she told the airline that her son would harm himself if forced to wear a mask. He wanted to be free to do what he needs to do, in part because he holds his breath when he has a mask on and think he's underwater. The airline said. However, its currently mask policy does not allow for medical exemptions. So reminded guests of our face covering policy throughout the booking process and in the pre-trip email, and is required acknowledgement as part of the check-in process. Okay, our existing policy does not provide for medical exemptions, regardless of the diagnosis. Our team members explain that this is to our guests, but never questions anything medical situation in the process. Anyway, Spirit cited federal regulations requiring masks in the airport and on planes, but noted that updated guidelines would allow travelers to apply for exemptions beginning later this week. But it didn't stop them from kicking the family off the plane. So the CD issued an order last month making masks mandatory on commercial flights and at airports. But the guidance does not allow for exemptions for people with disabilities who may not safely wear their masks because of disabilities, has been defended under the Americans with Disability Act. But anyway, make a long story short, this lady was kicked off the plane and she was pretty pissed, and it's like, the little boy really wasn't, 4-year-old children really, I don't know whether or not they're in the whole spectrum of passing the disease like that. And he's sitting,
I would think.
He's in the corner in the window.
Yeah, an autistic child, nonverbal, so he's not making noise or bothering anybody. If he's sitting like in the window seat where he's not like breathing on anybody, walking through the aisle, I don't know why they would trip out like that.
Yeah, and even the way she came off by saying "get off" like that, all loud and verbal. I just think that.
Yeah, that's just abuse.
I just think that right now, we're in a world nowadays where you really got to watch yourself. There's everybody, this whole thing with the guns and everything, and the way it's being celebrated in Congress with these different Congress women wearing this gun, and if you look at that CPAC thing where the same lady that was, talking about having her gun, she comes out on stage with a gun on her hip like she's Wyatt Earp or something. I don't understand. I'm just trying to figure out where the home training is. I just think that the world has really gone from the majority of decent people really controlling the narrative of life, where people that are ignorant as hell have learned to step up their game. Even though they're outnumbered with their ignorance, they're able to, through the whole Donald Trump loophole, have been able to just act a fool and get away with it. And this is coworkers and everybody. These are people you see every day that they shut down. And you know, the sad part about it is that no matter where your maturity level is, you still can't reason with these people. You know? So half the people leave it alone. They just terminate the friendship with that person that they thought they knew. But then when that person goes off into a Donald Trump rampant, I'm a Trump supporter, rampant, and talk like they're just a robot, or they're like obsessed, or they're some type of a cult, you just leave them alone. You could have known this person 10, 12 years prior to the Trump administration, and now that, you know, Trump has taken over, you know, they're crazy. They're crazy. They're literally crazy, and it's
well, I'm putting Spirit Airline on the kiss it list, because they should be ashamed of themselves for that one.
All right. Yeah. Well, they mentioned something about they had to have some kind of special order, and I guess they just didn't abide by the special order or something. I don't know. You know, you had to do it in advance. But I think from the article that they went to another airlines and they honored it. So, you know, it depends on the airlines, depends on the people. Like Papa says, this is where people are. It's crazy.
But see, that's what common sense is for. Common sense should have said to that flight attendant or whoever that was who was acting like that, that person should have just said, okay, you know what, in this instance, I'm going to make an exception. Now, apparently this person was too afraid and maybe felt like they were putting their job in jeopardy if they did that, or they just felt like, I'm not making an exception for anybody. I don't care what kind of situation you have medically. The rule is the rule, period. Right.
I mean, a 4-year-old child, I mean, that says a lot about a person's character or airlines or, you know. I'm like, it's crazy. I don't know, you know.
That's true. And I'll say it. Spirit Airline is shady at best. So I don't put anything past them with the kind of stuff that they do and how they roll. I have heard some things from people I know personally who have experienced some stuff when flying with Spirit Airline. I put nothing past them. Nothing at all.
Yeah. All right, maybe things will get better. You know, maybe they'll look at things differently because of this incident. Now it's public. Either they're going to care or they're not going to care. So it's going to be interesting to see. All right, well, let's get into this little cocktail. I'll tell you briefly. It's called the Green Giant, and it'll be on our website as well.
It's the Green Giant.
Yeah, it's like I said, the recipe is interesting. It's 2 sugar snap pea pods, 8 tarragon leaves, 3/4 ounces of simple syrup, 2 ounces of Heyman's Old Tom Gin or the gin of your choice. I prefer Bombay Sapphire. Also, half an ounce of dry vermouth, 3/4 ounces of lemon juice freshly squeezed, and garnished with the 2 sugar snap pea pods. So it's simple. In a shaker, muddle the pea pods, tarragon, and simple syrup. Add the remaining ingredients and ice and shake until well chilled. Fine strain into a chilled rock glass filled with crushed ice and garnish with 2 sugar snap pea pods. And that is called the Green Giant. Like I said, it will be on our website. So, pretty interesting.
Well, that's an interesting one.
With
a snap pea pod? Okay.
Yeah, I know. When you muddle that in the tarragon, something different.
Yeah, it sounds very healthy and earthy. All right.
Everybody's
giving us
a
healthy cocktail with peas and
everybody's
tarragon.
trying to get into it.
Yeah, pea pod, All right. Well, we'll make sure we get it up on the website. And what was it called again? Behave, Poppa
Green
DD.
Giant. Ho, ho, ho. Green Giant. The Green Giant.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to shift it over to Poppa DD. Are you ready for what's poppin', Poppa DD?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know the question. What's poppin', Poppa DD?
Yeah, I was looking at the news earlier, and I saw that last week this Friday night football game got ugly between these two teams. You know, obviously a predominantly white school and black school. The black school went down it was a Fairfax County thing, Virginia, and I forget the name of the black school. I don't know if it was Wake Forest or something like that. Anyway, during the game, the black team, well, predominantly black team, was winning, and all of a sudden the white guys of the other team started spitting on them in the midst of COVID, you know, and it just became a brawl, and they were using racial slurs, and the black kids were telling the coaches and the referees and everybody what was going on throughout the game, but they didn't do nothing because these are all white refs and white coaches, and like I said earlier, it just seems like, you know, whites confronting other whites is just not the norm, especially in front of black people. You know, it seemed like the blacks will always get the fault of what's happening. And it just kind of got ugly. But then they held a press conference. The parents of the black kids held a press conference. And what was so amazing is that the three boys that got suspended was at the press conference with their mother. Now, mind you, if what I noticed out of everybody, and this is so interesting, what I noticed out of everybody, if you figure if the kids are in high school and they're 17, 18 years old, well, 17, 16 years old, all right, their mothers was like from 36 to 40 years old, okay? So I'm looking at these young boys, and the three boys that was there, I don't know whether these boys just came from a hairdresser or whatever, but all of them had some type of braid in their hair, and their braids were just as shiny and pretty, you know what I mean? And their complexion and everything, and their mothers were young and gorgeous, and I'm looking at these three mothers and three sons just looking just as beautiful black as they can be. And I'm saying to myself, wow. You know, it was just so amazing how they would just, you know, the mothers, they had their sons in such perspective from head to toe. I mean, football players on the field, but when these boys dressed up, their hairs was all, you know, like one had dreads, one had like the ties, and they were like just like fresh cuts, all three of them. It was just, I said, wow. And I don't even think the white folks even see them like that. They may look at their hairstyles and see something totally different. You know, like you some kind of coon with some type of twist in your hair. What is that in your hair that's all twisted up and all? It's just amazing. I mean, it's just so interesting that all phases of racial tension is being distributed in all groups, from people in their 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, and teenagers on the football field. There's no escape to the racism. It's crazy.
Ooh, it is crazy.
I just want to put that out there like that. I'm serious, you know.
Well, I'm glad to see black people representing well.
They was at that press conference looking real good.
Good.
And they had on masks, everybody.
Good. See, they're doing the right thing, talking right, looking right, coming across right. To say that they were spat upon, even if it wasn't COVID, that's still not right. Why are you out here spitting on these children?
And they showed that.
Mad because you were losing?
Exactly. Their mothers were in full control of their children. Them boys was obedient, masked up, looking good, and they said their piece.
My people.
You watch the news, you'll see it on the news. It's on the local news, and it was a football game that went south real quick. And it's just going to show you that some of the white kids is picking up right where their fathers and grandfathers left off.
Well, I was going to say that stuff is learned behavior.
Yeah, they picking up right where their fathers and grandfathers left off. It's like, he's 16 years old, yelling the N-word out like he manufactured it. 16 years old, please. Give me a break. Somebody had to cook that for you.
Well,
you wouldn't even know how to cook that word. That word had to be prepared and cooked and served to you. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Okay, now. All right, Ketel. It's time to lighten it up.
That was a good one. Yeah, you gonna lighten it up? You got the first one, Redwine.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hit it first.
I'm trying to pass it on or something.
I sure was passing it on. Okay, I got one about an assistant principal. This is out of Pensacola, Florida. My weird news. An assistant principal at an elementary school is accused of accessing the school's district's internal system to cast fraudulent votes for her daughter, who was elected homecoming queen at the high school. This is the assistant principal now. You stuffing the ballot box for your daughter so she could win the homecoming queen, according to Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They got really deep into it. On Monday, agents arrested Laura Rose Carroll, who's 50 years old, and they arrested her 17-year-old daughter on multiple charges stemming from the October homecoming vote at Tate High School in Pensacola. Investigators found that back in October, hundreds of votes for the homecoming court were flagged as fraudulent. There was 117 votes from the same IP address from their computer within a short period of time. So, see, she didn't even know what she was doing. She flagged herself. And that's when investigators found the evidence of unauthorized access to the school that was linked to the assistant principal's cell phone and computers from her house. They said they found 246 votes cast for homecoming court from those devices. And like I said, this woman is the assistant principal at Bellevue Elementary. So she's not even the assistant principal at the school where her daughter goes, but she had access to their central computers. So she's going in there doing some, undercover stuff. Anyway, long story short, she got booked. Come to find out, her daughter had been tapping in on the computer, looking at other kids' grades, and both of them were doing some crazy stuff. So now the mom has been booked and bond set at $8,500. It's not immediately known whether either one of them is represented by a lawyer, but the daughter was taken into custody and transferred to Escambia Regional Juvenile Detention Center. So they're not playing with this thing. She jumped in there trying to make her daughter win homecoming queen and exposed a whole lot of stuff.
I see. Wow. They're paying for it, I guess, huh?
Sure enough.
Oh, okay. I got the next one. A man is found guilty. Boy, they sending a lot of folks are finding them, of keeping live sharks in his pool. 7 sandbar sharks now swim the waters of the New York Aquarium at Coney Island. Their new digs are definitely more spacious than their previous home. It was a New York man's above-ground pool. Joshua Seguin, put him on a kisser list, 40, no better, is facing a $5,000 fine for illegal possession with intent to sell 7 sandbar sharks. Wow. Sandbar sharks are protected species under the New York law and illegal to possess in the state without a special license. He was sentenced to a conditional discharge in town of LeGrand Justice Court in New York this week. So he was released without imprisonment or probation, but subject to court-determined conditions. The tide has turned for Joshua, who was convicted and held accountable for his unlawful act. We will not tolerate anyone who preys on protected species to line their pockets.
Wow.
Interesting.
And you said his name is Joshua Green?
Seguin, Seguine. Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
These people all the change. What would make you
no.
want to keep live sharks in your swimming pool? And you trying to
Money,
sell them
man.
online?
Yeah. People do
I'm
any
just
and
wondering
everything.
how do you transport the shark when somebody buys it? You can't put them in a baggie like a goldfish. That's wild.
It says at the end of this article, he put him in the back of his truck. And he was arrested in Georgia for driving without a license and holding a tank of 5 undersized sharks in the back of his truck. So they stopped him.
Oh, the smaller ones. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. What's your weird news, Poppa DD? That's crazy.
Let's see. A Florida couple offers free beer as a way to meet the neighbors. This is Cape Coral, Florida. A Florida couple came up with a great idea to meet their new neighbors. After moving to their home during the COVID pandemic, they offer free beer. Amanda and Thomas Evans decided to move from Fort Myers, Florida, to nearby Cape Coral, just before the pandemic started last year. It was a different experience, I think, than most first-time home buyers. Amanda Evans told ABC, hit the news, hit ABC 7 television station. They were not sure when they would get to meet their new neighbors. They were so enthused they moved to a new neighborhood. They wanted to meet the new neighbors. I want to meet my neighbors, and I just can't wait. Luckily, we have a rescue dog that we've walked around the block every day. So we met some people in passing, she said. Typically, she would bring people cookies and pies, and that I would say no thank you, or invite them over for dinner. But we weren't sure about how to do this during the pandemic. This is what Amanda said. Put Amanda down on the kiss list. She's giving out cookies, cakes, and pies during the pandemic. She needs to be locked up. Okay, instead, they created a flyer that would say, "Hi, we're new in the neighborhood and would like to meet our lovely neighbors. Okay? We'll be in our driveway with drinks, ready to meet our neighbors who would like to stop by. We can't wait to meet you." Her husband wasn't sure anyone would show up, but once the free beer sign was placed outside, the neighbors started venturing over.
Wow.
Okay, it's always funny to see a sign on the table that says free beer, just to get people to stop by and turn their heads and drive by and say, what did your sign just say? We had a few people do a double take. Free beer is a pretty easy way to get people to show up, said Thomas Evans. So put Thomas and the other Amanda, put them both on the kiss list because they're desperate for friends, and I don't know. I don't know. It's just some kind of white trust privilege crap. Because I don't care if I live somewhere 10 years and I meet 3 people, but don't make me no never mind. No disrespect, okay? All right, who lives across the street? I don't know.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think I might know a few neighbors, but I don't think I could name all their names and stuff. I wave when I see them, but I'm not trying to sit down and give them free beer and say, "Come on, let's sit down."
She says she usually does cookies, cakes, and pies.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess they've upgraded to beer now. I guess it's gonna be liquor next, huh?
Hey, whatever it takes to draw the neighbors, since they seem to be
if it's liquor, I'll go for some liquor, but they better pop the government seal in front of me.
They can't pull out a half a bottle or something.
No, thank you. I don't got. Ain't no way.
Say, I still got a half a bottle of this. Come on.
We learned that from what's that place in Dominican Republic? No,
where those people were getting messed up.
That's right. We learned that from there.
Putting the other stuff in the bottle.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't break that government seal.
You don't know what it is.
I'm not interested.
All righty. Well, And again, we're not taking any calls tonight because we all have an obligation this evening, so we're just trying to get it in, give you what you need for a Friday night, and tap out. So, is it my turn?
You'll turn over to Redwine, but I'm just saying, you got the floor.
Thank you, Poppa DD. You're so gracious tonight. Tonight, I'm just saying, you are part of the problem. Now, Republican Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin last week made what I think is a racist and idiotic statement regarding the January 6th Capitol riot. He said that if the protesters had been supporters of Black Lives Matter and Antifa, instead of being largely white, patriotic, law-abiding citizens, he would have been concerned. But since they were law-abiding Americans, he was not concerned that they were going to do anything harmful or that he was in any danger being in the Capitol that day. Now, I'm just saying, Mr. Ron Johnson, you are part of the problem with race in America. Why he felt the need to go on a radio show and make such a blatantly racist statement is beyond comprehension. But then he turns around and claims that his statement had no racial overtones. Really? In what Twilight universe is that not a racist comment? Then the man said that his fear level would have gone up considerably if the protesters out there were chanting for Black Lives Matter or the group that they keep talking about, this mysterious Antifa, that nobody knows who it is, what it is, or where it is, but they sure keep talking about Antifa. Antifa was out there. That was Antifa. That wasn't Trump people. That was Antifa, dressed up like Trump people. That's what they want us to believe. And I'm like, really? This is why I'm saying you, Johnson, Mr. Ron Johnson, and all the rest of y'all that talk that mess are part of the problem. Like I said, nobody's even seen this so-called Antifa. I'd like to know, where are they? Who are they? Anyway, if they don't feel, if nobody feels like what he said was racially biased, then I guess we're all just crazy. I'm just saying, when people in leadership make those kind of statements, it just throws more gas on an already out-of-control fire. Being in denial about it is not going to solve it, and it's not going to make it go away. It's people like Senator Ron Johnson, people like Pierce Morgan, who apparently don't know what it means to be tone deaf. Maybe they do, and that's what they intended to do. Maybe they are who they reveal themselves to be, and people are just in denial about it. I don't know which it is, but I tell you what I do know. That old statement about sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you, I say that's not true, because we see the damage words are doing. Words are doing a lot of damage. Words are getting people killed. Look at what happened in the Asian community. Words started that. When Trump started using racial slurs toward the Asian community, a lot of heat started coming down on the Asian community. When Trump and people like him started saying negative stuff about the black people in black communities, stuff started kicking up. So words can hurt you. It's not the words themselves, it's the people who act on the words. So I'm just saying, that whole sticks and stone thing, I think we need to stop saying that. If America is ever going to be the United States, we need to start being united with each other. Otherwise, we'll just be the divided states of America. And whether the haters believe it or not, I think that's really, they think that's what they want, but I'm thinking, no, that's not what you want. These people who keep talking about they want a race war, that's not what you want. A race war would destroy this country.
Destroy it.
We have it good in America compared to a lot of other countries.
Yeah, take it down.
And all of that would be flushed down the sewer if we allow a bunch of idiots to cause a race war. So this is Redwine, and I'm just saying, Ron Johnson and people like you, instead of being the problem, why don't you try doing something useful and be part of the daggone solution? That's all I got.
All right.
Been a rough week.
All
right, Redwine.
Just doesn't make sense. Oh, boy. Okay, where are we going next?
Well, you want to go living for the city? How about that?
Okay.
You got time for that, or you want to just kick it out?
I tell you what, let's go to the Hollywood wrap-up, and then we'll circle back to living for the city if we have some time. Is that cool with everybody?
Yeah, I done been down, Grace.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Papa might have something to say. He might got a lot to say.
All right,
I don't want to mess that up. Come on, Papa.
All right, go.
I think he's on the road.
I just want to say, I just want to put it on blast, the fact that wow, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out when the rock was moved. You know, the rock that a lot of people with all this hate and everything were hiding behind because they were out there. And I think that, I don't know if Trump even knows or realizes what type of Pandora box that he's really controlling. And it's not just the common people, it's politicians as well. And when you look at grown men that are making good money, good health insurance and everything, and these are people that are prominent people, allegedly prominent based on their position. You know, talking about Ted Cruz and, the gentleman from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, and all these people that got prominent names. Ron, the boy with the curly hair.
Oh, Rand Paul.
Man, Rand Paul. All these people that are prominent people. And then the guy that got shot in the schoolyard. He's just as vicious as anybody else. I'm like, Scalise, you are lucky to be alive. You have had a bullet penetrate your skin. And I swear on a stack of Bibles, man, if God would ever, I wouldn't say God, if my life was ever put in a position where a bullet hit my skin and I survived it, believe me, I would walk in a totally different path. Really, I would be an instant homebody, okay? An instant homebody. I wouldn't even want to go out and venture anything out there. And this man was on the baseball field with his glove in his hand, the baseball cap, on a lazy afternoon, and was shot. But now that you have healed under the grace of God, you become a jerk-off. And, I mean, my goodness. And I just think that you have no remorse for what you've been through. You have no appreciation for what you survived. And you just, you don't even care. And Trump is guiding people like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. And it's so sad how I've always known and heard from my ancestors that, most white men live a world of monkey see, monkey do. And it's becoming very true. Two things that they live by is monkey see, monkey do, and the ones who have the most toys wins. There's always been the credo of white men, and this is just white men at this, and even white women are. The young lady on The View was mentioning it the other day. She said she's so tired of young white men buying these AR-15s and going out here trying to prove something by shooting people, because they have gotten their mind that whatever they do, they got a good alibi, because the alibi is already in place before you. And they know that when their white counterparts approach them in the midst of getting caught for what they do, they're not going to shoot them, because the pack is already there. The fact that we won't shoot our own people, that's already established. It's been proven with the gentleman who killed I'm sorry to call him a gentleman, but the man who killed the people in South Carolina at the church. Was it South Carolina? Yeah, South Carolina at the church. Timothy McVeigh in Oklahoma City. All these people rode, and then the gentleman over here now in Atlanta, and somebody else, the guy in Aurora that killed the people at the movie theater. all these massive killings, these people rode in the back of a police car to the police station. And how many blacks were killed unarmed right there in the street where they stood? Okay? I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it just go to show you that there's a higher power. There's a power we don't know about. There's a dog whistle that's being blown that we don't even hear. It's just a lot of crap going on. There were people actually think that they're winning, but you're not winning. They're not winning anything. They're not winning anything. They're being led. And they're being led by an old man that's in his mid-70s that don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. And he living on a big old acres and acres of land in, Mar-a-Lago. Mm-hmm. This man got a golf course. He has a pool, spa. He's got people rubbing down his body every day. He's got plenty of money. He's got big influence. And he's just like the Messiah. And all these little people underneath him, who are prominent people, don't even realize the spell that they're under. And I'll leave it at that.
All right.
All right.
I figured you had a lot to say. Yeah, that was a good one. I think you had a lot to say. You had to get it out. I understand.
Yeah, had to let it out.
Yeah, that's getting ugly. This whole Pied Piper thing, he's leading the rats anywhere they want to go because he's in control. Especially that one guy, too. What is his name? McCarthy?
Oh, yeah, Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy. He is a mess.
Spineless jellyfish.
He is spineless. He don't even realize what he's saying sometimes. I'm like, are you serious? What is your wife and children? What does your wife and children feel about the crap you're calling?
They're all unbelievable.
Anyway.
All right, you ready, Ketel? Take us to Hollywood? Give us the gist.
Yeah. I'm going to make it short and sweet and get into it. Aretha Franklin's family asked fans to boycott it's a project called Genius Aretha, saying they were disrespected. Let me see. It's National Geographic's upcoming Genius Aretha miniseries, which starts airing on the 21st of this month, March. The series stars Cynthia Erivo as Aretha and follows her rise to stardom. The granddaughter, Grace Franklin, she released a video on TikTok saying to boycott it. She says, as immediate family, we feel it is important to be involved in any biopic of my grandmother's life. It's hard to be accurate depiction of anyone's life without speaking to the ones closest to them. During the process of writing, directing, and filming this movie, we reached out to this particular project as a family on multiple occasions where they were disrespected and told that they will not work with them. So it's going to be interesting to see if people watch it, if they're going to watch it or boycott it. Because this actress, she won a Tony and she played Harriet in the movie. So she has a lot of accolades. So, it's going to be interesting to see, are they going to respect the family's wishes or are they going to watch it because of her? So we'll see.
Wow. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, so was I. So we'll see. The Masked Singer was revealed last night. The Phoenix. It looked like a red giant bird. There was a lot of people they thought it was, but it ended up being the Olympic gold medalist, Caitlyn Jenner, which was interesting.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay, Caitlyn Jenner. Yep. They thought it was RuPaul. They even thought it was the old host, Nick. They thought it was Nick Cannon. So it's interesting to see. It was her. Yeah, or him or her, however you want to put it, Kate Jenner.
Wow.
Okay. Going on to the Grammys. The Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, they did their famous WAP song but the FCC thought it was rather risque. They got about 80 complaints from various people.
That's all?
People came from. Yeah, that's what I said. Over millions of people that watched the show. They came from Colorado, Idaho, those Midwest states. It doesn't surprise me, but don't watch it next time. And my thing was, it was after the kids had gone to bed. So, it was what it was. It probably got some of the highest ratings, but they claimed that this particular award show was one of the lowest ratings, like 14 million compared to like 17 to 22 million people watched it. But, hey, it was a good show. I enjoyed it, but anyway, we'll see where those complaints go.
Well, can I just say that even though it was around 10 o'clock when it aired, when that segment aired on the East Coast, that's 7 o'clock on the West Coast. So I'm just saying that is like during the time when kids are up, what the networks call the family hour. So, yeah, it was not prime time in all time zones, but you have that 3-hour span going from east to west. So
you're saying ladies with fat booties aren't allowed to perform?
No, I didn't say that you did. All I said is there was a lot of skin to be shown on the West Coast at 7 p.m. So
really?
I think
the babies are being early then.
You are what you are. I mean.
Yeah, I mean Trevor Noah said that coming up after the commercial, they're going to do their performance of WAP. So any parent who thought it might have been a problem should have cleared the room.
So if Molly Cyrus goes out there who looks like a neck bone of a chicken, you don't have no problem with her.
Oh, I have a problem with that too. I don't want to see that.
Well, I'm saying society doesn't have a problem with her. Oh, that's Molly Cyrus. Oh my God,
I'm just saying that when Ketel was making a point about it was 10 o'clock, I was saying, well, on the East Coast it was, but it wasn't 10 p.m. on the West Coast. That's all I was saying. I'm not trying to add all this extra commentary, Poppa DD. I was just pointing out the time difference.
I think they're complaining because it was a big, fat, brown, juicy ass, and they was mad at it. Anyway,
of
didn't mean to cut you off, Ketel. Go ahead and do your thing, Ketel. I didn't mean to. Go ahead, do your thing.
I'm not even going to touch
keep rolling. Keep rolling.
But, from that, they were saying that CBS should face some kind of penalties, some stiff penalties because of the performance and everything. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, if they do anything or not, So, yeah.
And they knew what they were going to get.
Yeah, they did. Also, Elliot Page, she's the first transgender man featured on Time magazine cover. Interesting. Remember, she did Juno. She was a female then. She just came out as a male within the last year. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of roles that she get in the future. So, she's on the front cover of Time. But I'm like, if you see the picture, they could have done a better job. They could have spruced her up or something. She's wearing a damn sweatshirt and pair of jeans, and just looks like shiggity. Don't look like nothing. But that's how they want her to look, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't have gone for that look. That's my thing.
Okay.
Interesting. Marvel announces the first gay teen Captain America in the comics' 80-year history. Marvel gave fans their first look at the newest Captain on Wednesday. The gay teen, who was named Aaron Fisher, is described as the quote-unquote the Captain America of the railways, a fearless teen who stepped up to protect fellow runaways and the unhoused. Interesting. He's going to look like he's going to have black hair with sides of his hair shaved and a sports American flag tattoo on his left arm and a red tattoo on his neck. So, interesting. Something new.
Okay.
Something new. What else?
Yeah.
That's my Hollywood wrap up. I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can hit the kiss it list real quick. Tell us about the kiss it list, Poppa DD.
This is people to show their butt over the last week or so and compile the names and give them their own song and the whole nine.
All right, who you got first?
Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Scalise, McCarthy. Anybody else with an R behind their name?
I got Senator Ron Johnson, Sharon Osbourne, Pierce Morgan. I'd like to add that brother that you always see in the videos from that January 6th thing at the Capitol, that one black guy, the mask hanging off, that brother is from Maryland, from Prince George's County. He has been arrested. Come to find out, when they questioned him, why was he even there, he said he was protesting the election. And they asked him, well, did you vote? He said no. I'm like, you are so stupid. How you protesting something you ain't even participate in? Go sit down.
He's special. Yep.
And most of them are like that.
Special. The guy who was arrested in front of Vice President Harris's house with an AK, whatever, weapon.
Yeah.
All of that with his guns and whatnot. Another crazy one trying to do something stupid.
So he could get a plaque on the wall?
Yeah, he's on the list. The Atlanta shooter who killed the 8 people in Atlanta. The cop or sheriff, whatever he is, that was sympathetic with the killer in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Talking about he was just having a bad day.
Bad day.
You're a moron. Spirit Air, got them on here. Laura Carroll, stuff in the ballot box, trying to help her daughter win a high school homecoming thing. I'm like, girl, sit down. Joshua, whatever his last name is, the man with the sharks in his pool, trying to sell sharks online. And then I've got Amanda and Miss Evans. Amanda and Mr. Evans were giving out the cookies and stuff and beer, trying to meet their neighbors. Papa said put them on the kiss it list for handing out cookies during a pandemic, cookies and cakes and pies, all that kind of stuff. You have anybody else, Ketel?
No, I've covered everybody.
All right, we got this a surprise for everybody on the kiss it list this week. Here it is.
Kiss my entire ass. Kiss my Irish ass. You better kiss my Irish ass. This world can kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. You can just kiss my ass. Baby, you can just kiss my ass. Oh, you can kiss my country ass. I said if you got a problem with any of that, you can kiss my natural born redneck to the bone, ever loving country ass. That's right.
All right, welcome back to the John Party. I'm your host, Poppa DD, and I'm here with Ketel
Hello.
and Redwine.
Bonsoir, darling. It's time for the last word. So, Poppa DD, what's your last word?
My last word is just be careful out there, because all the stuff going on in the news, there is some... And these people, the person that tried to go with Kamala Harris, with all the ammunition and all that, oh my God. What is your objective? Crazy. That's crazy, really. So, just be careful. Just watch your surroundings, because there's some sick people out there that they're being led by
Sick people.
Sick people, yeah.
All right. Ketel, what's your last word for tonight?
Good question. Just be safe out there and wear your mask. And Spirit, leave those 4-year-old kids alone. Yeah, I'm just glad that the other airline stepped up to the plate and let them get home. That was the main objective. And maybe
Right.
the spirit need to be more sympathetic to, make it a individual thing, case by case situation. So that's my last.
Yeah, that would make sense. All right. Well, my last word is, if you're not part of the solution, you could very well be part of the problem. Don't be on that side. Be part of the solution. Let's fix this. Let's not be the divided states of America. That's my last word. Thanks to everybody for listening tonight. Again, we were not taking calls. We were not ignoring you guys. But we've got an appointment to get to, so we appreciate you for hanging out with us tonight. And we're going to say goodnight so we can all be on time. Have a good Friday night. Say goodnight, Poppa DD.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Ketel.
Good night.
And bonsoir. Till next Friday. We're out.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
Is it all over, Rock?
I guess so.
I bid you farewell, arrivederci, sayonara, and all that sort of jazz.
Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Well, good night.
Yabiko. Sana.
I regret to announce this is the end. I'm going now.
Good night, and good luck.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
Now give me a kiss and say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you for attending our show, and good night.
Party crew, keep it real for you. No clothes allowed. It's summer party. Grown and sexy, join the party. Good summer party. Party crew, keep it real for you. No clothes allowed. It's summer party. Grown and sexy, join the party. Good summer party. Party crew, keep it real for you. No clothes allowed. It's summer party.